Welcome to this deep dive, where our focus today is really sharp, getting your business English up to that C1 level.
That's right. We've got some great material, stuff designed for advanced learners, people like you who really want to, nail meetings, negotiations, networking.
Exactly. Think of it as boosting your professional impact, sounding more polished, more powerful.
Yeah, our mission really is to give you that high-impact vocabulary, those persuasive phrases, and also, crucially, an awareness of cultural nuances.
Those subtleties that can make or break international deals, right?
Precisely.
Yeah.
We want you communicating with real confidence and authority.
Okay, let's jump straight in then. First up, upgrading that core business vocabulary. The
Yeah.
resources we looked at really hammer home this point about moving beyond everyday words. Like, good, it's fine, but
It's fine for casual chat, yeah, but in a business setting, using a more precise word, it just amplifies your message so much more.
so instead of just good results,
Well, think about exceptional or maybe cutting edge. Imagine saying, our results were exceptional this quarter.
okay, yeah, that lands differently. It signals something, well, exceptional, something noteworthy.
Exactly, not just run-of-the-mill positive.
And the same goes for bad, I suppose, the sources mentioned. Subpar?
Subpar or even detrimental. So not the delay had a bad effect.
A delay had a detrimental effect.
Uh,
Okay, more professional, stronger sense of negative consequence. Got it.
It implies a significant damaging impact. And then there's change, a word we use all the time in business.
Constantly. So alternatives.
Richer words like overhaul or pivot. So instead of, the very general, we need to change our strategy.
You could say we need to overhaul our strategy, which sounds like a major rebuild.
Right. Or we need to pivot our strategy, suggesting a clear shift in direction. The word choice itself tells a story.
Okay, practical application time. The material actually poses a challenge, doesn't it?
It does. It asks you, the listener, how you'd rewrite this sentence. The team did good work, but the budget was bad. Using that elevated vocabulary,
So what's the suggested upgrade?
the source offers. The team delivered outstanding work, but the budget was untenable.
Ooh, okay. Outstanding instead of good, real mark of excellence.
Definitely. And untenable instead of bad. It implies it wasn't just tricky, it was impossible to sustain. Adds that layer of critical assessment.
That's a powerful shift. Okay, let's move on to meetings. Mastering meetings. This is where C1 English really shines, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's not just about understanding what's being said. It's about confidently leading, knowing how to interject politely.
And making sure everything's crystal clear.
Right. And what's interesting is how these language skills directly impact your professional influence in that room.
So like starting a meeting, instead of just let's start.
You could say, to kick things off, let's address. It immediately sets a proactive tone, positions you as a guide.
Nice. And interrupting politely, that's a big one, especially in international teams. We don't want to seem rude.
Definitely not. The source gives a really neat phrase. If I could just chip in here.
Chip in. I like that. It sounds collaborative, not aggressive.
Exactly. Signals you want to add something without just barging in.
And then clarity, ensuring everyone's actually on the same page.
Crucial for productive discussion. And the phrase they suggest, to put it another way, are you suggesting, is so useful.
Why that one specifically?
Well, it does two things. Seeks clarification, obviously, but it also gently invites the other person to maybe rethink or expand on their point. Fosters shared understanding.
The source even had a little role play idea, didn't it?
Yeah, sort of a mental exercise for you. Imagine you disagree with a colleague's idea in a meeting. How do you voice that?
Using C1 language, politely.
Right. And the example was, while I see your point, I'd argue that.
Ah, yes. Acknowledge first, then present your view. Shows respect, but also critical thinking. Very smart.
And that flows perfectly into negotiation language.
Where nuance is everything.
Absolutely. Avoiding demanding language, focusing on collaboration. That's key.
So instead of just stating your position firmly,
Try collaborative openings, like, what if we met halfway? It immediately signals you're looking for a mutual solution. Sets a better tone.
okay. And what if their request just isn't possible instead of a flat no?
You soften it. Something like, I'm afraid that's not feasible right now, but here's an alternative we could explore.
Acknowledges, sets a boundary, but offers a way forward. Constructive.
Exactly. And another useful one is, let's table this for now.
Ah, the diplomatic pause button.
Precisely. It lets you park a tricky point without dismissing it, keeps the main discussion moving, but you can come back to it.
The source also had a pro tip about hypotheticals.
Yes, Using if clauses or hypotheticals to soften requests that might sound like demands otherwise.
Give me an example.
Instead of, if you extend the deadline, you must increase the budget. Try, were we to extend the deadline, could you perhaps increase the budget? Or
Yeah.
would there be scope to increase the budget?
Ugh. Were we to? Makes it sound much less like an ultimatum, more exploratory.
Much more palatable in a negotiation generally.
Right. Okay, let's switch gears to networking. At C1, it's got to be more than just, what do you do, right?
Oh, definitely. The resources really push for more meaningful, engaging conversations.
So, ditch the standard opener.
Well, not always, but try questions that invite a story. Like, how did you break into this industry? People often have interesting journeys.
That's a good one. It's more personal. Or maybe something about the bigger picture.
Yeah, like, what's your take on the latest market trends? Shows you're clued in, interested in their field beyond just their job title. Sparks a real discussion.
The material also mentioned an elevator pitch drill.
It did. Challenge yourself. Describe your role and impact in just 30 seconds. And try to weave in some power verbs: spearhead, leverage, innovate.
Packing a punch
Ah.
concisely. Okay.
It's about communicating your value fast.
Which leads us nicely into cultural intelligence, because miscommunication isn't always just about the words, is it?
Not at all. So often it's cultural. How messages are interpreted, how directness is perceived. It varies hugely.
The sources contrasted direct versus indirect cultures.
Right. So in some places, like the US or Germany, saying I disagree quite plainly is, generally fine. Efficient, even.
But elsewhere, like Japan or even the UK sometimes.
A softer touch is often better. Phrasing like, perhaps we could consider, or I wonder if another approach might be, can be much more effective, maintains harmony.
It's about reading the room, essentially, or the cultural context.
Exactly. And the source actually prompted a bit of self-reflection. Have you, the listener, ever had a cultural misstep? A faux pas?
Thinking about those moments can be really insightful, actually. Helps you learn and adapt.
Definitely sharpens that cultural antenna.
Okay, so let's wrap up with the challenge for this week, drawing from all this.
Right. Practical steps based on the sources.
Mm-hmm.
First, try using at least 3 of these advanced phrases we talked about in your work emails this week.
Actively apply them. Get them into your muscle memory.
Exactly. And second, practice interrupting politely.
Even if it's just like talking to your reflection.
Yeah, just rehearse saying, if I could just chip in here,
Yeah.
get comfortable with Fresco, build that confidence.
Good advice. And a little teaser for our next deep dive.
We'll be shifting focus a bit, moving into academic writing, specifically C1 level essays, how to make them really stand out, truly dazzle.
Ooh, interesting. So from business polish to academic prowess.
Yep. Ultimately, though, this is all about unlocking your potential, whether it's business or academia, advanced English communication with clarity, confidence, cultural awareness. It really opens doors.
Keep practicing. Keep applying these ideas.
Absolutely. That's how you grow.